Hey everyone, it's Rachel, and today I wanted to give a little bit of a story time. I completely forgot about this, but recent events brought it back into my mind, and I just, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. I'm so stupid, and I'm gonna tell you the story of my weirdest first date. It actually happened this past summer, and it was a coworker, and we had only been working together for a couple months, or a few, I don't remember when he was hired, but he kept making comments at me, and I don't know, he was into me, I was not interested, and that's how it went. And it went on like that for a while, and our shifts started to overlap more and more, which made me a little upset, but I had to go with it because, it's work and it is what it is. And he asked me, this is a couple months into knowing him and him making it very clear that he was interested in me, and me trying to make it very clear to him that I was not interested. He asked me if I had a Facebook, and I didn't want to lie, so I told him yes I do, and he's like, oh, what is it? And I said, my name, and he's like, what's your name? So it was stupid. So I gave him my name, which I shouldn't have done, but I did, and I think the reason I did that was because I didn't want to make things at work more awkward than they already were. I don't know, I'm such an awkward person, but yeah, so I gave him my Facebook, and he's like, don't you want to know mine? And I'm like, well, if you send me a friend request, I'm gonna have yours. And he just didn't understand. He was offended that I didn't ask for his Facebook, and he just did not understand that if he friended me on Facebook, I would already have his Facebook. It's just a very common sense thing. Anyway, so that's baseline. Okay. So then he's messaging me, and he just keeps messaging me. He's like, hey, what's up? Hey, what are you doing? This is my guy impression. And I was like, oh my god. So sometimes I would answer him, sometimes I wouldn't, which makes me seem like the bad person here. But hear me out, okay? Because it gets weird. So I'd answer him, whatever, and he kept doing that, and then he kept making comments at work, and I'm okay, so a lot of things at work are kept on really high shelves, and I have to reach up, or I have to really stand on my tiptoes and reach to go get things, because that's just how the work is set up. Sometimes I'd use a step stool, sometimes I can get it on my tiptoes, whatever. I'm short, that's how everything in my life goes. So I'm reaching, and he kept making comments you're so short, you're so short. But get this, he was only 3 inches taller than me, and I'm short. But he was making comments at me about being short when he was only 3 inches taller than me. Anyway, so I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm short, I'm used to it, whatever. So then, he was like, oh, should I call you Shorty? And I'm like, no, you shouldn't, because I don't like that, so don't do that. Anyway, time passes. A couple months go by. He's still bothering me. I'm still ignoring him half the time. The other half of the time, I decide to be polite, and I answer him. So I go on vacation, and he just keeps bombarding me, and at this point, I'm like, man, do I actually like him? Do I just like the attention? I don't know. And he keeps going at it, and he keeps going at it, and we aren't talking that often. We're talking maybe a little bit every day, a little bit every other day. So we're not consistently talking, but he keeps bugging me, and he keeps asking me out, and he's like, I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'm like, okay, but I don't even know if I like you, so stop. So finally he asked me out, and I decided, what the heck, he's annoying enough as it is, what do I have to lose by giving it a shot? And then if it doesn't work out, maybe he'll leave me alone. And that was my mistake right then and there. So I accepted, and he kept, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's like, I don't even know you. Like, how old are you? What's your whole name? I don't know. Where'd you go to school? Why do you work here when you have a trade job? Like, he was a licensed carpenter, you guys, and he wasn't even using his carpenter's license to do what he was doing when we live in an area where that is, like, very much needed, and there are jobs scattered everywhere. Anyway, so, yeah, he keeps going on about that, and I'm like, okay, whatever, and he's like, I need to see you, we need to hang out, we need to go on a date, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, and he doesn't drive, so I have to go and drive out to go pick this guy up because I already commute as it is. So I have like a 45-minute drive every day. He doesn't drive, so I have to drive to go out and get him and then come back. Anyway, that's like not even a major point in this story, but I mean, it kind of is. Hold on 1 second. Thought I heard a car door. Must not have, or not anyone but me. So, okay, so I agreed to go on a date with this guy, and he's like, oh, you gotta come pick me up, and I'm like, can't you meet me anywhere else? And he's like, no, come pick me up from my grandma's house, and I'm like, whatever. So he gives me the address. I'm really bad at directions. I have to plug it into my GPS, and I go, and I pick him up, and this is our first date. Our first actual in-person conversation outside of work. So I tell him, all right, I'm going to be there in about 40 minutes. He's like, okay, good, be ready. I'm like, okay, cool. So it takes me a little bit over 40 minutes to get there because of traffic. And he comes out, and I like text him, like, okay, I'm here, come on out. And he texts me back, okay, I'm going to come get you, but I'm not ready yet. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not ready yet? I told you when I was going to be here, and it's past that time. Why aren't you ready? And he's like, oh, I thought I had more time than that. I thought you said it was going to be like an hour. I said, okay, no, 40 minutes, because it shouldn't take me an hour to get out there unless it's snowing, and it was summer, so it wasn't snowing. So he's like, come on in and meet my grandma. And I'm like, I would rather not meet your grandma, please. And like, okay, I have anxiety about meeting people, especially if it's someone that I'm dating, like meeting their family. I have anxiety about that. When I have warning. I didn't even have warning. I'm walking into a stranger's house. I've never been with this guy outside of work. He's introducing me to his grandmother. Also, his grandmother doesn't speak a whole lot of English. I don't know any Spanish, so it was just really awkward. And yeah, so I'm sitting on his grandmother's couch, waiting for him to finish getting ready. And he keeps coming out and he said, just a couple more minutes, just a couple more minutes, just a couple more minutes. And I'm like, I swear, if you do not come out and we are going to get in the car and drive away somewhere else, I will get in my car and leave without you because I'm over the situation. But it gets weirder than meeting his grandmother on our first date. So we get back to the car and he's like, where's my kiss? And I'm like, okay, dude, we just started dating. No. And he's like, where's my kiss? You're my girlfriend. Where's my kiss? And I'm like, we do not have to kiss. We just started going out. I don't even know your last name. I don't even know how old you are. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, so we go, and I'm like, okay, where are we going? And he's like, let's just go to this park. I'm like, okay, where is that? And he's like, you don't know where that is? And I'm like, I don't live in this area. Just give me directions and quit being a douche. So anyway, I'm sorry. I just get so heated. Anyway, so he gives me directions, and we go to this park. And this park is a little bit shady. And we get there, and he's like, man, I haven't been here. It's been a couple weeks. I come here and I work out. And I'm like, I know you don't work out. You're just being funny at this point. And that's not even being an insult to him. He told me that he didn't work out, and it had been like months since he had worked out. So he's like trying to like flex. And I'm like, okay, I know you don't work out. And he's like, no, I come here and I jog with this girl. But she like wants to be with me, but I told her I have a girlfriend. And I'm like, okay. All right. Cool. You want a cookie? I don't care. So anyway, he's like telling me all this, and I'm like, okay, well, we absolutely have to get to know each other because this is a first date. And he's like, well, you're my girlfriend, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, kind of, but like this is like a first date. So like we never stated we were exclusive at this point because we didn't know each other. And I was still a little hesitant about getting into the relationship, period, because I didn't know anything about him. I just knew that a lot of people didn't like him, and that should have been a signal to me that a lot of people didn't like him. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that later in the story. It's going to be a very long video. And we're talking, we're getting to know each other, and whatever. So we know a little bit more about him. I find out he's like a year younger than me. Not a huge deal. I'm 21 at this point, which would make him 20. We're both of legal age. Everything's fine. It's good. It's fine. I knew he had to have been over 18 because he had graduated from trade school and had been out for a while. So, like, I knew we were fine on that end. I just didn't know how old he was, and he would never tell me. So finally I ask him in person, so he can't dodge the question, and he tells me. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, what, is that a problem? He's like getting really defensive about it. And I'm like, no, it's not a problem. I just feel like I should know that before we get any deeper in this. So we're like asking like trivial questions and some deeper questions and whatnot. So then I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to go for a walk, but I also want to go somewhere that I'm familiar with. So I take him to campus because there's also more people around. It is summer, but there were summer workers there. And like, I don't know this guy very well, and I'm out with him alone, and like, I mean, I could leave him at any time, but also, like, he doesn't drive, so I have to be the one to drive. So it's a little more, I feel like it would be worse if the situation were reversed and I didn't drive and I had to wait for him to drive me around. Anyway, so we go to campus, and we're walking around, and we're talking a little bit more, and we're getting to know each other. And he keeps trying to go in for a kiss, and he keeps trying to grab my butt, and I'm like, no. Okay, you want to go out with me so bad, then you should know straight up front that I like to take things snail pace. Very, very slow. Because I'm not the type of person to date casually. Normally. Keep in mind. Hey, buddy, you want to be part of the story? Keep in mind that we are not exclusive at this point. Hi. And I was doing this date as like a trial run to get to... Oh, my goodness. You have to go potty? You have to go potty? Okay, so I'm going on a trial date with this guy to figure out if I should even continue seeing this person or if we should break it off right then and there. Because I don't enjoy dating casually. Kind of feel like it's a waste of time. And I really don't like wasting my time. So, getting to know this guy, and it starts to rain. We're like, okay, well, sprinkling a little bit, we can keep walking around. It's summer, the rain is nice, whatever. And then the rain starts to pick up a little bit more, and there's like storm clouds in the distance. I'm like, okay, maybe we should move back to my car, and we can talk inside my car. So we were having a conversation, getting to know each other, whatever. So, we're walking back to my car, and he goes, man, you are so beautiful. I can just like picture you on our wedding day. What? He goes, yeah, like I can just like picture you like let me see. I can see you, maybe not pure white, because you're pretty pale. But I think I can see you in something maybe a little more like ivory or like very pale gray. And I'm like, what about a wedding? And he continues to tell me the dress that he wants me to wear for our wedding, how I should do my hair for our wedding. We get back to my car. I'm blown away by this point that he has planned the wedding. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's a whim. He seems kind of an out there, spontaneous person. Maybe he's trying to impress me with commitment. I don't know. And I was a little unsure of him still at this point. So we get back to my car. And he asked me for a piece of paper. And I'm like, why? And he's like, I want to draw something for you. I was like, all right. So I pull out a piece of paper to give it to him. He wants a pencil. I give him a pencil. So he proceeds to draw out this epic floor plan. And I'm like, hey, what you drawing there? And he's like, oh, this is going to be our wedding hall. I'm going to construct it. Don't worry. I want something that, like, our families can come together and do. And, like, I know our families live far away, but I feel like if we have it here, or, like, I feel like this is a central location. So, like, all of our families can come and they can be there for the wedding, and it's going to be great. And I'm like, okay, boy, you keep talking about our wedding, and we don't know each other. So he continues to go out on the floor plan. He's talking about our grandchildren. I'm like, I don't know you. Why are you planning our wedding? Why have you drawn out this wedding hall? What are you doing? So, I'm very quiet at this point because I'm just hoping if he gets it all out of his system, I can drop him back off at his house and not have to deal with it anymore. But he keeps going like, okay, so that should work, right? That sounds good, right? And if I'd be like, oh, I don't know, he'd be like, what, you don't want to be with me? You don't want to get married to me? Like, you don't see a future? Well, if you don't see a future, then I don't know. Like, I already have our future planned out, and you were definitely in it, and we were getting married, and we were having 3 kids. We were having 2 boys and a girl, and he, like, listed their names, and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to go home at this point. So I'm just listening to him plan out our entire wedding. He had planned out his entire party. The reception. He planned the food. He planned this massive reception hall he was going to build with his family so that it could accommodate both of our families, and our children and our grandchildren could continue to use it, and it could be our legacy. And I'm just sitting there hoping and praying to God that this is a joke. And it's not a joke. He just keeps going. And I'm like, okay, well, I really need to get home now. And he's like, okay, so when's our second date? You guys, I should have left right then and there and told him that I would get back to him on that. But because we had to work together, I told him soon. And that was my epic mistake. I told him soon. So I took him back to his house, where he demanded yet another kiss. And I, like, gave him one of those half kisses because, like, I was not into it. And I dropped him off, and he's like, I love you, baby, I'll talk to you later. And I'm like, okay, don't call me baby, first of all. Don't do it. I'm not your baby girl. It's creepy. Also, I'm older than you, so don't do it. Anyway, so we continued to date for a while. I'm kind of half-heartedly in this relationship, but we become exclusive. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And, like, guys, don't do this. don't get into a relationship with someone just because they're your coworker, first off, and you don't want to make things awkward at work. That's a bad idea, and that's why I did it. Don't do it. If someone plans out your wedding or your entire future on the first date when you barely know them, leave. I think he has to. I don't remember what I was saying, but don't be with someone just because they're giving you attention. That's not a valid reason to be with anybody. So we dated for a few months and we fought a lot, and he's like, but I love you and we can work it out, and people fight for each other. I'm like, I'm done. Like, you're such a child. And I honestly felt like his mother. And that is not the feeling you should have when you are dating somebody. Because you guys, he didn't know how to keep a job. I didn't know him for that long, and he had like 4 jobs in the time that I knew him, because he didn't know how. He kept getting fired, or he kept walking out because of unfair conditions. But like, it really wasn't that bad. He just didn't know how to keep a job, and he wasn't interested in working. He always showed up late. He left early. He wasn't a good worker. And for me, I need someone with a strong work ethic and like strong determination and a vision for the future that doesn't involve me immediately, because we just met. And no, you don't love me because you don't know me. We just met. And he's like, no, I saw you and it was love at first sight. And I'm like, okay, if it was love at first sight, first off, and the whole reason this came to mind is because I just found out that he has gotten at least 3 different women pregnant. The one he was actually dating for a while. And so I'll give him that one. The second one was shortly after we met. Just in general, like, he was hired in at work, because I was there before him. I've worked there for almost 2 years. Slept with her, got her pregnant, and then just kind of like, bye, and then moved on to me. Now, I didn't know this at that point. And he told me, like, shortly before I left him, and I'm like, okay, well, this is another reason, because you are clearly not educated, and he was not educated. So basically, I didn't like hanging out with him because he didn't know anything, and he acted like he did, and he was over arrogant. Anyway, come to find out that while we were still together, still exclusive, I have to let the dog back. Come to find out that while we were together, since I wasn't giving him enough, he went out one night and, okay, the story is so twisted, because when we were together, he told me he was hanging out with someone who made a pass at him, and he got uncomfortable, asked her to leave, and then he was scared for his life. I don't know the kind of people he hung out with, but he lived in a really sketchy area of town, you guys. Like, really sketchy. I didn't even like going down to his place because I didn't want to leave my car in the street. Like, it was sketchy. So, I'm like, okay, whatever. So, I guess he had another interaction with this person who is nearly 10 years older than he is. And they got together. And he has another kid on the way. And the timelines, there's overlap. 100% there is overlap in the timeline. And so I just found out about this yesterday. And I was like, man, you are such a douche. And I knew he was a douche before I dated him, which is why I didn't want to date him in the first place. But I felt like if I didn't, work would be awkward. And like, I don't know, I'm stupid. Don't do what I do. Okay, just don't do what I do. Learn from my mistakes. And yeah. And there's so much more. Like, he wasn't a very nice person to me. He would actually ask me to stop talking because he got bored, but I would have to listen to him ramble on for 15 minutes about the invention of Legos, all of which were completely false. Like, he was giving me completely false information, and I knew this, and I just let him go on, because he's like, I'm a learner. I love to be educated in things. I know a lot of different things, and that's part of what makes me a great person. And I'm like, okay, you're not that great of a person. He got on my nerves. Arrogance, I just don't deal well with arrogance at all, period. He's trying to drink my drink. And he was very arrogant. Didn't have a lot of anything to back it up with. And he just, I don't know. It didn't work out. So I broke things off. And I kid you not, up until like a month ago, he was still messaging me. And like, I still love you. I'm gonna wait for you. Because a real man fights and waits for what he loves. And I'm like, don't wait for me, because you're gonna be waiting forever, because we're not getting back together. We are done. And I could not get it through his head for we've been broken up now for 6 months. I could not get it through his head that we were not getting back together. He should not wait for me, because if he waited for me, he was going to be waiting his entire life, because we were not getting back together. We just needed different things. He's too young, he's too immature, and I need someone who's the complete opposite of him. And yeah, we just didn't get along, and it wasn't working out very well. And there's a whole other story, I'm not even going to get into it, which kind of sparked me being like, okay, yeah, I really have to leave. Because I tried a few times to leave, and it just didn't work out. So I'm like, okay, whatever, it'll get better. It didn't get better. Spoiler. I'm much happier now. But he keeps messaging me, and he's like, I love you. I love you. Will you please reconsider? I love you. And I'm like, okay, but I don't love you. So leave me alone. And he just kept going on, and he hasn't talked to me in a while. And I think it's because he... I'm sorry. I think it's because he found out about all this baby drama. And I don't know, maybe finally grew up to take responsibility. I don't know. Guys, if you're just meeting someone and they plan your entire wedding and they name your children, leave. Just leave. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Don't do it. So, I hope you learned something from this. There's a lot more to this whole dating. We only dated for like 2.5 months, and I have so many weird stories about it, because it just was not a great relationship at all. So thank you so much for watching. Comment down below if, like, what's your weird first date experience? Do you like these weird story times? I know it's a longer video than I normally post, but hey, let me know what you think down below. I know I was in the wrong for agreeing to go out with him in the first place, and I didn't really like him. But was I in the wrong the entire time? I don't know. Let me know. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.